Hey, what's going on guys, WingsOfEnd here and welcome back to another video, and today guys I'm gonna be showing you how to make this really cool and simple automated pumpkin farm in Minecraft Bedrock edition. I got a comment from Ashton Crosswell. I'm pretty sure I butchered that name, I'm really sorry if I said it wrong and hopefully you didn't get offended. But the question was, is there any good automated pumpkin farm in Minecraft Pocket Edition? So I guess this is it, you are looking at it. Of course this is just kinda like a little concept. Obviously if you want a really efficient pumpkin farm you need to go a little bit bigger than this, because this is just a concept with these 7 pumpkins growing at the time right now. So that's not really going to give you a crazy amount of pumpkins. But as I said, this is a concept, this is what you need to do for a really simple and really effective pumpkin farm that's fully automated. Once you set it up, there is nothing else that you need to do. So if you guys are excited for this video, make sure to drop a like down below and subscribe if you're new. And without further ado, let's get right into today's video. So thank you Ashton Crosswell for this little question in the comments. Again, I'm really sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but this is a really simple and automated pumpkin farm Minecraft Bedrock edition that I think you guys are going to like. Again, this is just a concept, it's really small, but what you can do is either just kinda extend it over here, going lengthwise, or if you don't want to do that, you can basically copy this exact same design, maybe put it over here in front, maybe at the back, or just stack them on top of each other. This farm is really simple to make and I'm going to show you how it works. What we have for the actual collection system is the minecart with the hopper going in the loop over here underneath the actual dirt blocks. We basically have a row of 7 with 2 of them, so that basically needs 14 of the dirt blocks right there, or the grass blocks, it doesn't really matter. But every time we basically break the pumpkin, the actual minecart with the hopper is going to pick them up. It's going to go over here in the loop, and we basically have a little bit of the hoppers over here, and everything is going to end up in this little chest. Of course, if you have many different farms, you can basically have this kinda going into one main storage system, but this is just a concept of the farm as I said previously. So the way this pumpkin farm works is really simple. You can see over here that we have a row of the grass. This is just 7 blocks long, so we need 2 of them, so we basically have 14 pieces of the grass blocks. What we need to do is actually hoe the ground on one side and plant all of our pumpkin seeds over here and bone meal them or just let them grow to the actual stem. This is when your pumpkin are actually gonna be able to grow. One thing that we can do in Minecraft Bedrock Edition is actually detect the actual stem. You can see right now it basically goes upwards. If you have the pumpkin, when it actually grows, it's going to connect to the actual pumpkin. And this is something that you can actually detect with the observer in the Java edition, but for the Bedrock edition we can't actually do that. So what we have to do is basically monitor the actual growth of the pumpkin, which is actually going to activate our little observer. You can see we can have a couple of the pumpkins over here, and it's really important that you cover everything up just to basically remove any chance that any of the pumpkins are actually gonna be escaping, and that you're going to get 100% of the actual drops. Over here what we are doing is having a little line of the pumpkins where they can grow. Since we can't actually monitor the stem, we are just monitoring the first pumpkin right here. If we place the pumpkin right there, the observer is going to detect that, destroy every single one of them, and of course the little minecart with the hopper is going to pick every single pumpkin right there and basically lead it into this chest right there. The way this is done is really simple, and there is a couple things that we need to do to actually make this really efficient. One of the things that you probably know about the observer is that the observer face actually detects changes in the blocks over here, and it's going to output the actual redstone signal over here. You can see a couple of the pumpkins are escaping because I didn't cover the hole right there. But basically what's going to happen is the observer is going to detect the actual pumpkin and nothing else. If we had the block over here, that would basically destroy the stem, so this is the only thing that can actually be put in this place over here. So the pumpkins are going to get destroyed every single time. You may notice that the observers are actually not going in the loop. Of course, the observer can actually detect the extension and the retraction of the actual piston, and that would just kinda make it go in the loop. This is basically the heart of the machine, this repeater over here, which is stopping the actual loop of happening. You can see the first thing that's going to happen when we put the pumpkin over here is the pistons are actually going to activate, and then since we actually have the repeater on 2 ticks over here going into another repeater, that's actually going to block it and stop it from creating that loop. You can see if I just go ahead and remove this little repeater, If you actually have the pumpkin grow, it's going to just kind of go in the loop because the observer is detecting every time the piston extends and retracts, so that's something that we want to avoid. And that's simply done just by having a repeater on two ticks like so, and you can see it's going to block that repeater and allow the farm to work perfectly, and allow the observer to only detect the actual pumpkin and not go in the loop. So again, this is just a concept, and the whole heart of the machine is the observer, and this redstone over here, the pistons are just there to actually break the pumpkins. So with that in mind, you can extend this lengthwise, you can have them over here next to each other, or you can just go ahead and stack these farms on top of each other. But you can see it's really simple to make, and I'm going to show you how to make it right now. To make this exact same type of the actual farm with the same amount of blocks, you're going to need 13 pieces of redstone dust, 1 observer, 7 pistons, 10 powered rails, 4 normal rails, 2 hoppers, 2 chests, 14 grass or dirt, whatever you want to use, and for this one we're going to need 32 glass. This over here is actually included in the list of the glass. I just use the glass over here to enable you guys to actually see this a little bit better. So that's basically the list we're going to need to use to make the exact same size and everything of this little farm. Again, I would highly suggest that you go a little bit bigger and go on a much larger scale. So the first thing we're going to do is actually set up the little collection system. We're going to need 4 rails and 10 of the powered rails. We're going to use the normal ones to basically enable the minecart with the hopper to turn around and go into the loop. Then we're going to place 5 of them over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and finish the other 2 rails like so. So you can see we have 4 of them over here in the corners, and we're going to need 5 of the powered ones to basically finish the loop. And you can use lever, torches, redstone blocks, whatever you want over here, the redstone torches, and basically power the rails right there to enable the actual minecart with the hopper to go around. Before we actually finish that, we are just going to destroy a couple of the blocks over here. We can have the double chest, or you can basically set up like a shulker boxes or something, whatever type of the actual loading system you want. I'm just going to have 2 hoppers going into the little chest over here, with the rails on top of them, and the minecart can basically just kinda go around. Every time it passes the hoppers, it's going to put every single thing that it collects right here in this chest. Then what we want to do is basically grab a set of the grass blocks and finish the farm up. So the second part of the actual farm is putting in all of the grass blocks where we're actually gonna be having our little pumpkins growing. Again, this is just a 7 block long little farm. If you want a more efficient farm, I definitely suggest you go bigger. Again, this is just a concept. So since this is just a 7 block long farm, we are going to need 14 pieces of the grass blocks. I'm just going to go to one side and use the hoe over here. That way we can actually plant all of our pumpkin seeds. One thing that I don't think I actually mentioned is that obviously some of you guys may figure this out. You can also use the melons for this. It doesn't really matter. Pumpkins and the melons are kind of the same thing as far as the actual growing process goes. You can just replace this with the melon seeds instead of the pumpkin ones, and you got yourself a fully functional automated melon farm. Might actually do a separate video basically featuring this same farm, just for some of the people that are searching it. Maybe they are not going to click on this video, get this far and find out that you can actually use the melons for this as well. But next thing we need to do is basically put in all 4 normal pistons right here. Those are gonna be our harvesting way to actually harvest all of the pumpkins. And because the pumpkins are actually going to break, we're not gonna be able to destroy any of the blocks over here. We're just going to put it over here, covering every single bit of the actual farm. You can see the pumpkins can only grow on these blocks right here. Next thing we need to do is actually cover this up, that way no pumpkins can actually escape. So just grab yourself the glass blocks. Again, I'm gonna be using glass over here just so you guys can kinda see it, but you can use any block that you actually want. Just go around and cover the whole thing up. And we go to the final part of this farm, the redstone one, my favorite as you can probably guess. I left a little hole over here because we need to have an observer with the face pointing towards the actual inside of the farm. That way you can actually detect the growth of the pumpkins and allow us to basically harvest every single one. What we're going to need to do is make a little platform for the redstone to actually sit on. I'm actually going to be using glass for this. Of course you can use any blocks that you want. We're just going to make a little 2x3 platform over here and extend it going to the first piston right there. What we need to do is have a piece of redstone dust coming out of the observer. We need to have a repeater on 2 ticks right here, and another repeater pointing towards the actual pistons right there without of any delay. That just to basically stop the observer from checking the actual extension and the retraction of the piston and going in the loop. And then we're just going to grab ourselves the piece of redstone and go all the way around over here, connecting every single piston right there, and we are pretty much done with this farm. You can see if I actually break this block and we actually put in the pumpkin. If you put in the pumpkin, you are going to see that everything is going to get harvested. It doesn't matter how full the actual farm is, what we are detecting is this pumpkin right here. You're going to see that the pistons are going to push everything. Again, pay attention to this little repeater. You're going to see a couple of the bedrock pixels. That means that it's actually going to get blocked, because the first thing that's going to happen is obviously the observer is going to detect the pumpkin. You can see the redstone signal goes over here to the pistons, activating them, retracting and extending them really quickly. And then because we actually have the repeater on 2 ticks delay over here, it's going to be activated second. That way it's actually going to block off this little repeater. Again, just take a look at those bedrock little particles, I mean pixels. You can see that it's actually going to get blocked and the redstone can't actually get past it. That's basically the thing that's stopping the observer from detecting the actual pistons and creating that loop of the redstone and the extension and the retraction of the pistons. Again, you can see it. If I break that repeater, we are just going to get the loop. As soon as we actually put in the repeater and actually have 2 ticks of delay, that's really important. You can see if I just kinda have the actual repeater over here without of any delay, it is still going to block it, but it doesn't really do it that fast and it's not going to cut off the signal. As soon as we add that second tick right there, you can see that it's going to actually stop it. Right over here too. And with that said, that's pretty much all there is for this little farm. Again, thank you to Ashton Crosswell for asking the question in the comments. I really appreciate it and hopefully you actually like this farm. Again, I'm sorry if I said that name wrong, but let's just test it one last time and that's pretty much all there is. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like down below and subscribe if you're new. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Again, I can't stress this enough, make a bigger farm. This is a concept, either extend it going lengthwise or build like 100 of these. That's definitely going to help you.